Well, it's week 7, and CLG in counter logic fashion has continued their history with an upset over Cloud9. I'm joined right now by Tony Zikz, the coach of Counter Logic Gaming, with coverage presented by OmniSlash to talk a little bit about this. So, Tony, things have been interesting on CLG. A lot of people predicted you guys to be near the top throughout the split, Jat being maybe your biggest proponent. And unfortunately, right now, you guys are more towards the bottom. How have things been going on behind the scenes from your perspective?
We've faced a lot of challenges, especially surrounding shot calling. We've been pretty vocal about that and transparent with their fans that that's probably the place that we've had the most struggle this split. So this week, what we did in preparation to try to resolve some of the challenges that we were facing with shot calling was we had a team discussion and we changed our shot calling system a lot. And Vincent currently is our shot caller for the team. So he'll be the one that's pretty much making a lot of the macro decisions, getting people on the same page. But there is still a lot of things that are communicated from the entire team. It's not like a one-man army, commander type situation. It's just he's like the decision maker, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Nice. And how's that been going? And specifically, how did Biofrost receive that? Because I know when I interviewed you, or maybe it was Darshan, somebody at the start of the split, there was a conversation about Biofrost came to the team, said he wanted to be more vocal, but did not want to be the shot caller. So now he's kind of in that position. So how did that conversation kind of go down?
During the meeting, we had a few people that stepped forward that were eager, I guess, to get their chance at being the shot caller. Jay, I thought Jay did still a pretty swell job. I think that he could have been more demanding as a leader, but overall, I think that he's very, very smart about the game. Yeah. And it's not we don't believe in Jay in that way. I think like I said, Jay is very, very smart about the game. But we wanted to just give other people an opportunity, and Darshan tried, Trevor tried, Jay tried, Vincent tried. All of them did pretty well, and we figured that since Vincent was already covering a lot of our macro anyway, that it just made the most sense that we start by experimenting with Vincent instead of what we had before, which was more like a dual shot caller system.
Sure.
We wanted to fully commit to just one person. So that was kind of the outcome there.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the game you guys just played. With Cloud9, it felt as though they had control of the game a lot in the very beginning. And then they kind of gave you guys a little bit of an opening, which you guys seized and were able to really take advantage of that in the late game. How do you feel about CLG's performance in that match? How much better were you guys in that game versus, for instance, last week's game against Golden Guardians or some of the other games you guys have been struggling in recently?
I felt in the past, during the Golden Guardians game too, I felt like there was a very heavy lack of control from our team. We didn't really know how to control the game, and that we didn't really have solid plans that we could listen to. It was everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So we put another pretty heavy focus on this during the week, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, understanding what plans we need to make and how we can execute based on that. So this game specifically, I feel in the early game we had a very clear plan of how we wanted to play the game. We made a lot of mistakes on our bottom side, which is supposed to be our winning side of the map, and that that was pretty unfortunate. But once we hit mid game, I was pretty confident still that we could win the game because our comp executes really well when it starts to be a 5v5. They have 2 champions that aren't super strong in team fights, and we have 5 champions that are strong in team fights. So I was confident with our ability to close, even though we were down 5k gold in this game, because our team fighting is just much stronger, and they don't really have champions that are strong if they're forced to team fight. Yeah.
Now, we can shift a little bit. Before this interview, you're giving me a little crap because there was a video that went up on my channel that was should CLG replace head coach Zikz? And there has been, part of the reason that happened, that was a conversation we had on Hotline League, and part of the reason I think it came up was, not only did a fan call in about it, but there's also been a lot of conversation on the CLG subreddit among CLG fans, people saying your drafts have been questionable. Conversely, the industry, I feel like whenever those conversations pop up, sort of laugh at it. You know, a lot of people in the industry, I feel like, have a lot of faith in your abilities as a coach. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about, first off, how you've been coaching recently, and also sort of the fan sentiment or the fans that are kind of questioning your ability to lead the team?
So what's the exact question?
The exact question is, what do you think of people calling for your head among the CLG fans?
I mean, I think everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. They don't really have full information, so they're just kind of grasping at straws to what would make the fastest and quickest change. I mean, changing leadership is going to have that fast and quick change that they all desire. But they really, like I said, don't really know what is going on behind the scenes, especially like talking about draft. This is a thing that people within the industry have talked about a lot, is that coaches don't have like full control of the draft, in the sense that they know exactly what to pick in every situation, no matter what. A lot of that information does come from the players, because if you think about, the players are the ones that are playing the game. Coaches can do a lot of analysis and check statistics to check and see like what's strong, what's weak, what do you pick into which champion, like this kind of stuff. But like the actual feel of the game is something that the players have, and the information that they get is really valuable and important for the draft. So it is like really important to just understand that, I guess, as a person outside looking in, is that draft is a collaboration. I don't think there's going to be a single team that's, the coach is just like, you're going to play this champ only until we win every game. And then like it doesn't work like that. Like there's going to be a lot of back and forth conversation and people figuring it out together. So I don't agree with people saying that specifically for draft is the reason why I should be fired. Yeah. I think that there are improvements I can make with draft, for sure. I'm not going to say there's nothing that I can improve there. I think that there is, for sure. But yeah, I mean, if they want to have the opinion that I should be fired, that's fine. I understand it.
And just as a follow-up, how do you personally feel about your coaching techniques recently, and how well you've been coaching over the course of the split?
I would just say that as far as my coaching goes, I've just recognized that with changes in players, I have to really alter like my style, I guess. Like I have I had a different style last split that I felt worked for the players. And whenever you have a new roster, there's going to be a certain type of thing that the team's missing that you kind of have to fill in that gap. And I feel like it's just been a challenge, or a bit of a challenge for me, to try to find exactly what that gap is that needs to be filled. But I feel like I have a good grasp of what it is now and where I need to make improvements with my individual coaching. So I think that it'll be pretty good for me moving forward.
Well, hey, is there anything you'd like to say here at the end of the interview?
Just thanks to all the CLG fans that are still with us after a pretty fucking rough start, I will say. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that this team can turn it around and that we can start something pretty brilliant going into playoffs. Yeah. We're going to go for the 6-0.
Okay. I'm excited to see it. And by the way, thank you, Tony. I know I've given you crap in the past in interviews. I know you're not prone to doing interviews, so I appreciate the transparency from you. And also Nick on the CLG subreddit earlier today. So, and I mean that truly. Thank you for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on the YouTube channel. Yes, Peter. Yes. The money's in your account. I know. Yes, the whole 20K. Yes, I realize. Yeah. Okay, I'll talk. Oh. Listen, I need you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Costs of production are going up dramatically. I can't get into specifics because I'm now under an NDA that a pro player made me sign, but the costs are pretty high. So thank you so much to OmniSlash for making this happen, and please subscribe because it's getting tough.